What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new live stream. Um, First time in a while where we don't have a new episode of a show to talk about. The Boys is over for good. No new Invincible episode until next year. Same for Daredevil as well. But yeah, it's gonna be a while. But what's up? Hoop 2K, how you been since the Super Bowl? Pretty decent for the most part. What's up, CVO? But we got the Boys character tier list now that the show is officially over. I had to make one myself because I couldn't find one that was like updated, and I pretty much did like all the main characters or like the ones that people care about and like some, side characters here and there, but I just didn't have the time and energy to like add like almost every single character. So there's gonna be some missing. Like I didn't put any of the Gen V characters in there. Cause I just did as many as I can think of. But go through our film stuff, movies and TV news or whatever. And then we'll talk about the NBA conference finals. The Eastern Conference Finals is over. Western Conference Finals, we got a series. So NBA Finals is right around the corner. Basketball season's almost over. We'll do a mock draft because I keep forgetting to talk about the draft lottery. But I do want to do a mock draft, so probably save that for the end. Yeah. And then I got to get my Spider-Man video out at some point because you guys voted on that about a month ago by this point. And then all the other videos I had in that poll are going to be on pause because I got to do the Boys all seasons ranked video, and I do Invincible season ranking as well. I'm considering doing an episode ranking of the Boys, ranking all 40 episodes of the Boys, but that's gonna be really difficult to make. So it'll take me a while to make that one, but we'll see. Crazy how it's been 7 years since first season of The Boys released. Yep, 2019, 7 years ago. Hope you got out before Brand New Day releases. Yeah, I should be able to. But yeah, let's get to the tier list. Let's get my screen shared. But yeah, here's the tiers: goated, good, solid, mid, terrible. So yeah, I just added as many as I can think of. But we'll start off with A Train. Now, first couple seasons, season one, the very first episode of the show, runs into Louis' fiance, and I don't think he intended for that to happen, but we don't really see him feel much guilt about it. He kind of just moves on. And then, have this rivalry between him and Huey through most of the show until season 4. But throughout the show, we start to see, his fear of Homelander, and season 3 kind of starts his redemption a little bit, where like I believe it was Supersonic who tries to get him and Starlight's side, but instead he sells out Supersonic, gets him killed. And Starlight's like, why do you want to be with people who hate you so much? So, um, and then like I believe it was the finale, Homelander confronts him and is like, and there's you. How could you have killed someone in your own blood or whatever? So he's like, none of you are my family. I don't need any of you. Think about that. Um, or no, remember that. So then season 4, easily his best season. Um, Probably the best part of the season, honestly, was his redemption arc, which really raised his character, for me. And then season 5, episode 1, um, his story comes full circle. He saves Huey from Homelander and then tries to outrun Homelander and then, sees, sees a girl walking across the street. This time he sidesteps, maneuvers around her, doesn't repeat the same mistake he did in season 1. But fortunately, that leads to his death. But I'd say good. I wouldn't say goated, but I'd say, good tier is fair enough. See, yeah, A-Trey's character development was crazy good. Yeah, easily the best part of season 4. Love his redemption arc. But yeah, I'd say good tier. Next we have Ashley. She's kind of mid for me. Like she doesn't really do much instead of like bitching at people throughout the show. Like she's just like this Vought CEO who just bitches at people and stuff. I do like her, working with A-Train in season 4. Them trying to like help each other out. Season 3, she discovers the footage of Queen Maeve still alive, but she deletes it. So I thought that right there set up her redemption. Jesus. But yeah, but she's more of like this what's the term? Um boss lady or whatever. I can't remember the term, um but she doesn't really do much outside of CEO stuff. You can see her fear of Homelander. I do like in the series finale, she does help out the boys group like into the White House, so I do like that. Um, yeah, kind of just mid. She doesn't really do much. I mean, she has some funny moments here and there, but that's really it. Um, so all right, then we have Noir 2, the new Noir. I guess solid. Doesn't really do much outside of, funny lines, and he's a version of Noir that, talks, because the public only sees him with, his mask on, not off. So he doesn't really do much outside of, the whole deep stuff. So he just doesn't really do much for me. I guess solid. He has some good moments in season 4 and 5, but yeah, that's probably where I'd put him there. Yeah, I just don't think he's as badass as the original Black Noir. Like original Black Noir was a menace. Ashley is mid, I agree. Black Noir 2 also mid. They waste his character so badly. Okay. The Deep is solid. Yep, we're right there. So yeah, I hate the Deep because he's so dumb, such an idiot. And what he does to Starlight, and doesn't feel any remorse for that at all. Like in the season 2 stuff, he literally does all that crap just to get back in the 7. That's all he really cares about. Um, so yeah, outside of that, is just a moron for comedic relief. So I'll put him in solid. He has some funny lines, but he's just dumb. All right, then we got Firecracker. She didn't show up until season 4, which I thought in season 4 she was all right. I did like her rivalry with Starlight. I thought that was an interesting storyline. It shows a different side of Starlight's past. And season 5, first 4 episodes, she doesn't really do much. But episode 5 was easily, her best episode. And the acting from Valerie Curry was phenomenal. Easily her best performance on the show. Where she sells out that pastor that pretty much raised her. So that pretty much sealed her fate there. And she stops doing the thing with Soldier Boy. And then Homelander was actually willing to, just, let her go and stuff and just like let her leave. But instead, she pleads with him to give her another chance, and then he kills her. But I thought she was a solid, decent character. Not great, not terrible though. But she had some good moments. Yeah, Firecracker is solid. All right, we got Frenchie. If I'm being honest, he's my least favorite out of Butcher's group. Like I'd say mid. Like he's just kind of there for comedic relief and stuff, and the whole season 4 storyline of like his relationship with this other dude, I just did not care for, and it just felt like a complete waste of time to me. I did like his relationship with Kimiko throughout the show. But that's really it. And the whole like storyline that he has with like that Russian lady, I just do not care for. Yeah, just definitely not my favorite. Frenchie is just there for fun of it. Yeah. All right. Next is Huey. I think he has to go in good because throughout the first like few seasons of the show, he seems like that one guy that he's one of like the very few characters in this show that has a good moral center. Just an innocent guy starts off just a normal guy working at an audiovisual store. Him just talking with his fiance Robin, and then she gets killed by A-Train, technically on accident, and just seeing his whole life ripped away, like his future just ripped away from him, like that is truly tragic. So you can't help but feel bad for him. Then Butcher comes along and recruits him and saying like, listen, I can help you get payback on Vought. They need to be held accountable. So Butcher tries to like relate to him in a way, and I do like their dynamic throughout the show. Like it does get frustrating at times when they seem like they just hate each other, but I say seasons 1 through 3 is one of my favorite aspects of the show. Season 4 and 5, they just seem like they just hate each other for like no reason, or just like don't get along, and like that dynamic just doesn't feel the same as it was in the first few seasons. But obviously We all know in the series finale, he does something that he does not want to do, but he felt like he had to. He had no choice. Shoots Butcher, immediately regrets it. Says like, "I'm going to get you help. I'm going to get you an ambulance." And Butcher's like, "Don't. Um, if you didn't pull that trigger, I was gonna do it. I was gonna release the virus." So Butcher respects him for making that choice, and then he dies. Um, and I do like that Huey got, a happy ending. I felt like it deserved it. I just felt like after season 3, his character kind of just fell off a mountain, and they didn't really know what to do with him. But he's a good, solid character, so I'd say good, not goated, but good. Um, Huey is good. Jack Quaid is so underrated in the show. Yeah, he is a good actor. So shout out to him. All right, next we got Kimiko. I guess good. She has good moments throughout the show. How she like starts off in season 1 as this like crazy psycho girl who starts massacring people and stuff. But they do reveal, her tragic backstory and what she went through when she was younger and why she doesn't talk for most of the show. Which I do like. I think her backstory is interesting. We see the stuff with her brother in season 2. Um, I do like her relationship with Frenchie, as I mentioned earlier, and we see them build upon that throughout, season 3. And season 4, they have Frenchie with that other dude, which I didn't understand, made no sense. I thought they set up Frenchie and Kumiko at the end of season 3, so that just didn't really make any sense. But they end up together in season 4. And then the end of season 4, we hear her voice for the first time. And then season 5, whenever she spoke, it just felt off to me. I know mainly it's because I'm not used to hearing her voice. Like we're just used to her speaking through sign language, however you say it. But I don't hate her voice or anything. It just felt weird. It just felt really strange to me. It didn't feel natural, if that makes sense. It didn't feel like a natural voice to me. But decent character, I guess. Good. I do like how, they humanize her character throughout the show. And she does have a lot of funny moments, like when she mocks Butcher in season 5, where she goes, "All you say is oi oi oi, cunt cunt cunt." I thought that was funny. But yeah, I'd say she's good. Kumiko talking was weird, at least for Black Noir 2. I got used to him talking. Yeah, I mean, his voice sounded natural and wasn't really weird with him talking because you knew it was a different Noir. It wasn't the original one. So, all right, then we got MM. Say good character. Probably put him over Kumiko because he's got some funny moments when he's just being blunt, and you can kind of feel bad for his character throughout the show. I do like his dynamic with Butcher. Like they have some funny moments together. But Butcher kind of just screws things up with his family in season 1, where Monique's like, "I never want to see you again," and that whole thing gets screwed up till the end of season 4. They end up back together, and then season 5, the finale, they get married again, which is good. But I do like the backstory they give us on what happened with his family caused by Soldier Boy. So he feels the same way about Soldier Boy that Butcher feels about Homelander. Um, that stuff was great in season 3, and in season 4, him stepping up as the leader of the group, which I did like. But season 5 with the whole Soldier Boy stuff, like they barely like touch upon his rivalry with Soldier Boy. Like they barely address it. Like we see it happen like a few times, but that's really it. Like it's not amped up as it was in season 3. So I felt like it just I felt like the show kind of just ignores that in season 5. But pretty good character. Yeah, and the whole like Janine stuff is good for his character as well. I just wish to finish MM's rivalry with Soldier Boy. Yeah, because they don't really address it much. Dare I say MM killing Soldier Boy would have been a better ending? Yeah, I agree. Instead of just having him locked up in that chamber again. Like, I just don't get it. All right, Maeve. One of my favorite characters throughout the show, taking her over Kumiko. She was only in the first 3 seasons. But you see, her fear of Homelander and her wanting to, and her, protecting her significant other, forget her name. But we see Maeve wanted to save those people on Flight 37. Homelander said no and just let them die just so Scoops can get into the military. And you can see she felt horrible about that, and the trauma that she's dealing with. And her fear of Homelander. And then season 2, she doesn't even care that Homelander outed her as a lesbian. She's more worried about Elena, I think her name is, where she's like, where is she? What'd you do to her? And Homelander's like, nothing. She's fine. And Homelander acts like he's genuinely happy for her and stuff. And he kind of just does what he can to like make her feel as uncomfortable as possible. And he's like, it's like, Maeve, you're in love. I'm not going to let you throw that away. So then I do like her friendship with Starlight, where she does help out Starlight throughout the show. Season 1, episode 1. And then, in season 2, she saves Starlight from OG Noir. And then the finale, Starlight asks her to testify, but she says no. And then later on, she helps them beat the crap out of Stormfront. And then she helps Butcher take Ryan away. And she says, either you let them go or I release the Flight 37 video. And she says, and even though Homelander threatens, like, I'll destroy everyone and everything, she's like, good, then people will see, how much of a monster you are, and no one's ever going to love you again. So that's what makes Homelander let them go. And then season 3, her last season on the show, I felt like, they ended her character really well. But yeah, her working with Butcher and preparing to fight Homelander, take down Homelander. Noir knocks her out, and they keep her in like this isolated prison, which she eventually gets out. And she goes to Starlight and Martin. And then, she sides with Butcher and Soldier Boy, saying like, this is the only way. Homelander needs to die, whatever it takes. So she goes to Vought Tower with them, and she fights Homelander, and she actually holds her own pretty well. And she gets her eye gouged out, and she makes the She makes a big sacrifice where she stabs Homelander in the ear and then she punches him, knocking him down. And then she tackles Soldier Boy out of the window. And as his blast goes off, she loses her power. So we all think she's dead. But she ends up being alive. Um, but, her powers are gone. And she goes off with Elena to somewhere where Homelander can't find her. So that pretty much ended her character. And like I saw some people saying like, "Where's Maeve? Where's Maeve? Where's Maeve?" I'm like, yeah, season 3 was the end of her character, so I felt like they ended her character well. Because like I just don't know what they would have been able to do with her because she lost her powers and she didn't want him anymore. She wanted nothing to do with Vought. She didn't want to be a superhero anymore or just the soup in general. Um, so I thought her character got a happy ending and she gets to live her life peacefully. So, yeah, I might actually move her in goated, to be honest. I'll think about it though. Queen Maeve was goated, in my opinion. I'll also put A-Train in goated as well. I might, we'll see. All right, then we got Ryan. Call me crazy. I'm putting him in mid because he really just doesn't do that much throughout the show. I mean, season 2, he's just a kid, and I like feel bad for him, especially in the finale when he tries to save his mom, but he ends up, killing her on accident, which she was gonna die either way because Stormfront was choking her to death. So he was trying to do a good thing. I just, unfortunately, he was just a kid. He didn't know how to control his powers. But his heart was in the right place. And then season 3, we don't see that much of him. I mean, say like the first few episodes, we see him, and then Butcher pushes him away. And then we don't see him again until the finale where Homelander finally finds him and, takes him with him. And pretty much has him on his side. And then season 4, he's like in and out of the season constantly. And like, one moment he's with Homelander, then another moment he's with Butcher, then another moment he's back with Homelander, then another moment he's back with Butcher. Like, dude, pick a side. And in season 5, they do absolutely nothing with his character. We see him in episode 3, then the beginning of episode 4, and then we don't see him again until the final episode of the show. Like, they just don't do much with him. Like, I do like that he steps in and to go against, his father and to take him down and stuff. Like, that was good and stuff. And I felt like they ended his character well. But outside of that, they don't do much with his character. So I'm sorry. Ryan is okay. I just wish they did more of this character. Yeah. So, all right, Stormfront. One of the most hated characters in the show. One of my most hated characters, but she is a good villain, so I have to put her in solid. I do think she is a really good villain. Which we will see her again in the Vought Rising prequel. But I thought she was a good villain. She's pretty, brutal. She's pretty much just as evil as Homelander, but she is an evil piece of shit. Oh god. But she's a great villain in season 2 with Homelander. The relationship was all right, I guess. But Homelander hated her at first because of the memes, and she was getting more popular than he was. So they ended up being together. Um, and then, near the end of the season, she gets brutally injured by Ryan. Then the beginning of season 3, she's hospitalized, and then it gets reported that she killed herself. But Soldier Boy season 5 is like, bullshit. Where's the body? Um, so I felt like they teased that her character is going to return or pop up in season 5, since she does have the V1, making her immortal. But then they just don't do anything with that. But she was a good villain in season 2, though. Stormfront's a good villain. Makes you want to hate her so badly. Exactly. Going back to Ryan, imagine Ryan was a part of the Gen V. Would have been so cool. Yeah, I only watched season 1 of that show, so I didn't include any Gen V characters in here. All right, Rebecca. I do like her character, so I'm gonna put her in solid. Um, you do feel bad for her because of the trauma that she has. Because of the trauma of what Homelander did to her, and she still, raises Ryan as her son, and she generally does love and care for him as a mother, and she does the best she can raising him and being good to him and stuff. And you can see her fear of Homelander, and she doesn't want Ryan to become like Homelander. And she just wants to protect him, give him a good life, make sure he's safe and stuff. um and then I do like her relationship with Butcher. Seeing them reunite in season 2 was very emotional, where they tell each other that they're sorry, so that reunion was good. And then we don't see them back together until series finale, or not the series finale, excuse me, season 2 finale, where she goes to Butcher for help, and he's like, I'm going to get him back for you. And then he confesses that he was going to turn him over to Vought, but he's like, I couldn't do it, couldn't do that to you. Because you can see Butcher has like resentment towards Ryan because he's Homelander's son. But at the same time, Butcher does care about him because he's Becca's son. Um, and her death is the saddest scene in the entire show, and I stand by that. Because Butcher just got her back just to lose her again, this time for good. Um, and her death, where like her last words saying like it's not his fault, make sure he knows that he's good, he's a good kid. um Keep him safe, look out for him. So Butcher promises her that, but then he's about to like unleash his rage on Ryan, and I think Ryan was gonna let it happen because you know he felt horrible and stuff. And then Homelander shows up, so that's what stops him. So then Butcher's like, no. Um, and he's like, I made a promise. And we see how that affects Butcher throughout like the rest of the show. And we do see her come back as a hallucination in season 4, which I thought was good for Butcher's character. But yeah, solid character. Fun fact: the actress who played Rebecca voices Anissa in Invincible. So I think that's pretty cool there. Okay, then we got OG Noir. OG Noir is badass, so put him in good. Like especially that scene in season 2. I think it was episode 5 or 6, where he tracks down Butcher, and you know that like whole tense scene of like he's in that like neighborhood and he's like on top of the roof, and then he eventually gets in the house and they set up all these traps, and like he gets hit with all these traps, but he just walks through and he's kind of bleeding a little bit, and Butcher's like, I got evidence on Homeland. You kill any of us, that evidence gets out. And he kind of just stands there, staring at them. So OG Noir is, you know, better than the new Noir. Oh yeah, and the backstory they give on him in season 3 of what he went through with Soldier Boy and stuff. That was really good. Yeah, it's best season 3 for sure. Okay, Victoria Newman. One of my favorite characters in the show. You could argue that she should be in Goated, because she is a villain, but she's kind of conflicted. Like later on, like she, like at first we think like she's like this like a character that's like against Vought. Um, they introduce her in season 2, but in the season 2 finale, they reveal that she was the head popper and that she secretly works with Vought. And, you know, right after, you know, she takes that dude out, you know, Huey, you know, she interviews Huey for a job and stuff. So it's like, listen, I want to help take down Vought and stuff. And she's like, so she welcomes him in with open arms. You know, in season 3, episode 1, as mid as that episode is, like the ending, the twist, the cliffhanger of Huey finding out that she is the head popper, and just that like, you know, tension um throughout the season is done really, really well. Then Huey goes to Butch and he's like, Victoria's the head popper. Um, and Butcher's like, oh shit. Um, but you see that she does genuinely care for Huey in her own, you know, way. And Homelander even says that in season 5, episode 1. He says, you know, Starlight and Victoria Newman loved you too. Um, I can never understand why. Um, so she does generally care about Huey, which is, you know, weird. And she confronts Starlight. I think it was season 3, episode 6. No, I don't think it was it might have been episode 5, I think. Or I think it was like 5 or 7. No, I think it was episode 5, because the end of episode 6 is when Starlight quits the 7 and just Vought in general. So it had to be before that. But you know, she is, you know, a good villain, but she is someone that you can kind of feel bad for, and you can kind of just understand what she's doing. And you know, she, you know, puts Compound V into her daughter because she wants to protect her daughter and keep her safe and stuff. And you know, she does sell out Stan Edgar, who is pretty much like a father figure to her, um, to like protect herself from Homelander. And then Stan Edgar's mad about it at first, but then he understands. He's like, she only did what I taught her to do. And then season 4, she scares the crap out of Huey, and she's like, I always cared about you, Huey. And then when Huey like splashes that stuff on her, you think she's gonna kill him, but she's like, seriously, fucking asshole. But you know, and you can see Huey's terrified of her, but um she would never, you know, hurt, or she would never kill Huey. She would never do that and stuff. She decides not to do that. Um and you know, Butcher trolls her in season 4, which I thought was funny. But and then episode 5, I like her conversation with Starlight. And she rage baits Starlight, and Starlight shoves her into the snow. She's like, "Yeah, you guys got your shit locked down." So she got some funny lines. Episode 7 or episode 6, you can tell that freaking meeting, she does not want to be there, and she actually has a vision of her popping her own head because she doesn't want to be there. But then we see Huey dressed as Web Weaver, and she could tell it was Huey, but she pretends that it is Web Weaver. But she knows it's him, straight up. And then episode 7, Huey goes to her for help and stuff and tries to reason with her. But then she says, "I'm sorry about your dad." And I think she did genuinely mean that. And then episode 8, we see that Homelander outs her as a soup. And then he threatens her, saying if you don't follow the path I give you, I will torture your daughter every day. So that right there makes Victoria wake up, and she goes to Huey for help, just to protect her daughter and stuff. And here's one thing I don't like about season 4 is Huey is able to get Newman on their side against Homelander and Vought, and then Butcher comes out of nowhere and freaking kills her. So I felt like if they kept her alive, she would have had a good redemption arc. But they just throw that completely out the window. So still one of my favorite characters in the show. Very underrated. Let's see, Victoria Newman was a good character. I wish she didn't die in the end of season 4, though. Yeah, they just did that for shock value. Same with Mallory, which we'll get to later. It was episode 6. Episode 6 was the Hero-gasm stuff, though. It was the middle half of episode 6. But yeah, and then we got our daughter Zoe. There's not much to say about her. Doesn't really do much. The last time we see her is season 5, episode 3. Literally, that's it. So nothing much to say on her character. Mr. Marathon, Jared Padalecki, only 1 episode, so just mid. Cool cameo, but just doesn't do much. Same for Mal Chemical, Misha Collins' character. Then we got Bob Singer, another supernatural actor. He's all right, I guess. Has some funny lines. I do like the actor who plays him. So I think that's fair to put him there. Oh Father in season 5, he had some really cringy lines, so it's kind of mid to me. But he had some really cringy lines that are a bit ridiculous. Stan Edgar, aka Gus Fring, solid character, or just mid character, I guess. I do like that he insults Homelander, and just has no fear of Homelander, has no respect for Homelander. So I do like that aspect of his character. Translucent, literally only in 2 episodes, so can't really say much about him. Cindy, I just don't like her character at all. She just straight up attacks people, just brutal. So she goes there. Lamplighter, I'm familiar with the actor. He was to testify against Vought, but he ends up killing himself instead. So probably mid, I guess. Nothing much to say about him. Grace Mallory, I like Mallory's character. I like that she treats Ryan as, her grandson, and stuff, and her work relationship with Butcher is a bit toxic. But you do feel bad for her throughout the show, and I hate that they killed her off, and they barely address it at all. Um, but just a good character. All right, and then we got I think her name is Rainer. But she's in season 1, and then season 2, episode 1, she gets killed by Victoria. But I just don't really see much of her. Mesmer just sells out the group, and then Butcher kills him, rightfully so. Madeline Stillwell only in season 1. We see the shapeshifter be here in season 2, and then we see Homelander have a vision of her in season 5, and then that's really it. But she was like a CEO kind of a character, so just mid. Then we got Kumiko's brother. It was good for Kumiko's character, but doesn't really do much. Only in season 2. Then we got Sonic, who's a friend of Starlight. She does tell him the truth, and they try to work together to take down Homelander, but then gets himself killed by Homelander. So that's really it for him. So then we got the Legend, aka Dr. Owens. He has some funny lines, but that's really it. Just comedic relief, I guess. Then we got Joe Kessler. I actually thought he was a pretty solid addition to the show. It's unfortunate that he's just not real. He's just in Butcher's head. But Jeffrey Dean Morgan, great actor. So, I like the Kessler and Butcher scenes. Oh, Father was okay. Stan Edgar is also decent. Yeah, most of these characters are okay. Grace, solid. Allie Mills. If you know, you know. Yep. Supersonic was all right. Yeah, it just doesn't really do much except for backstory with Starlight. Legend was decent. Starlight peaked in seasons 1 through 3. Sadly, can't say the same as you. Yeah, so okay, Starlight, seasons 1 through 3, one of the best characters in the show. She truly wants to be a superhero. And you do feel bad for her because of the stuff that Deep puts her through. But her relationship with Huey was one of the best parts of the show, especially in season 1, when they just start talking like normal people, her and Huey, which I do like, where they're just talking like normal human beings, and their relationship grows from there and stuff. And season 2 and season 3, I thought it was all right, but their chemistry is great. And then season 3, Vought tries to make her the face of the company because she gains more popularity because Homelander's popularity is down because of the Stormfront stuff. So Stan Edgar wants to make her the face of everything. We'll see like the struggle that she goes through in season 3, where like she wants to be a superhero, wants to be part of the Seven, but she cares about Huey and stuff like that. So she eventually just snaps and is like, that's it, I freaking quit. Because, at some point, enough is enough. But after season 3, her character just fell off a mountain. Season 4, like after season 3, they just don't do much with her. Like season 4, you have, her side versus Homelander's side. She officially joins Butcher's team. Even though Butcher does not like her and hates her. But season 4, they reveal that she was pregnant with Huey's kid, but gets an abortion. And that gets exposed. Her rivalry with Firecracker, her powers on the fritz, because she's trying to find herself and figure out who she is. And, she gets kidnapped by the shapeshifter, and the shapeshifter pretends to be her. Then she gets mad at Huey when Huey thought it was her, but it wasn't. Then season 5, she's like a little side character, where episode 1, she breaks them out of the prison, but then after that, she saves Huey again. And then episode 3, they go to Stan Edgar to find out about V1 or learn about it. She kills Cindy because she thought she killed Huey, and that was too much for her, so she flies away. Episode 4, you have this whole storyline of her going to her biological father. Then she returns to Huey, and then episode 5, she's literally in it for like 5 minutes. Episode 6, her and Huey go to the freaking church to plant the virus, and then O-Father's there, and they nerf the hell out of her against O-Father. Episode 7, she tells Marie Monroe to go away just for the end of the episode, to go back to her and say, we need your help. You need to help these people. Episode 8, she fights Deep, and she pretty much kills Deep, and then, ends up being pregnant with Huey's kid again. This time they keep it. That's really her character. But yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed her character too. She had some great moments through the show. Glad she got revenge on Deep. Yes, thank goodness they did that. I feel like Starlight was so much better when she was still a part of the 7. I mean, yeah, you see that like confliction arc that she goes through. Season 4 ending sets up Starlight to be even more powerful just for season 5 to retcon it and have her lose to O-Father so easily. Yeah, she got freaking nerfed in that fight, which she's supposed to be one of the most powerful soups in the show. So all right, then we got Bombsight, aka Jason from Stranger Things season 4. That was all right. Really, just only got one episode with him. I like his fight with Soldier Boy. But other than that, not much. We'll learn more about him in Vought Rising, but I think here is about right. So, and then we got Soldier Boy. He would have been goated in season 3, but season 5, like, my goodness, they do him dirty in season 5. Season 3, he was a great addition, had some funny lines. He was an actual threat to Homelander. Made Homelander feel fear for his life, like fearing for his life. He almost killed Homelander 3 times. He had some of the coldest lines in the show. And then season 3 finale, he was going to kill Homelander, but Butcher stops him because of Ryan, and then they fight, and then, Queen Maeve tackles him out of the glass, and he ends up being you know, in the freezing chamber or whatever you want to call it. And then season 5, I mean, Homelander wakes him up, sends him after Butcher, gets infected with the virus, survives it, gets mad at Homelander, hooks up with Firecracker, tries to find V1, is on and off with Homelander, defends Homelander against Mr. Marathon, then sees the footage of Homelander and Stormfront and says, "You don't deserve to live forever," just to turn around after his fight with Bombsight to give Homelander the V1 because he thinks that Stormfront would have wanted that and that he loves Stormfront more than he hates Homelander. Then episode 7, he tries to leave, and then Homelander chokes him out and then puts him back in the freezer container thing. So yeah, they just brought him back to set up the spinoff. That's literally it. But season 3, his character was great, though. Soldier Boy was goated, even though season 5 kind of ruined his character. Yeah, I mean, Jensen Ackles did a great job playing the character. It's what Clara would have wanted. Oh God, yeah, those memes are everywhere. All right, Butcher has to go ungoated. Such a tragic character. Karl Urban did a phenomenal job playing the character throughout the show. The funniest lines in the entire show. And they give him tragic backstory. Happily married to Becca. And, he loses her for so long and he thinks she's dead because of Homelander. So he's hell-bent on getting revenge on Homelander for what he did to Becca. And the whole show is, based on their rivalry. And as I mentioned before, I like his dynamic with Huey. And, they say like he's a spitting image of Lenny, and they reveal that backstory in season 3. The guilt he feels of abandoning Lenny, and then Lenny, kills himself, and see how that affected him for so long. And now he sees Lenny in Huey. And then when Starlight warns him about 10V being lethal, he goes to get more, but he knocks Huey out to prevent him from taking any more of it. He takes more of that, and then he gets terminally ill, only has months to live, makes those months count, going after Homelander in season 4. He gets, his own powers. And I do like that he ends up being the one killing Homelander, but even after that, he still wants to release the virus. He's like, superheroes got to go. Just because we took out Homelander doesn't mean another one won't come about. But, he dies and stuff, very emotional death. But it had to happen because, without Becca, he really had nothing to live for. Like, with Becca gone and him killing Homelander, he had nothing left to live for. So I felt like his character had to die. But still, goated character, phenomenal performance by Karl Urban. But he's got to be goated. Homelander's the best character on the show. Anthony Starr's acting and performance is amazing. Yeah, but that brings us to last. Homelander. Love him or hate him, he has to go ungoated. I mean, just one of the greatest villains ever. Anthony Starr deserves an Emmy for his performance as Homelander throughout the entire show. Just phenomenal actor. He truly made the Homelander character iconic and what he is today and stuff. And you can see the laser depth on his character. and you can understand why he is the way he is, because he never had parents. He was never brought up the right way, didn't have a mom and a dad that loved him and raised him the right way and stuff. He was just, a terrified kid, raised in a lab, experimented on, tortured. So you can see how that affected him. So he was never shown the right way. So you can see how he is the way he is. Obviously doesn't make it right, but just a great villain. Given like almost everybody in the show, except for Butcher and Soldier Boy for the most part, is terrified of him. A Train, Deep, Starlight, Victoria, etc. Like almost everybody is terrified of him because they know what he's truly capable of, and he can just snap at any moment. So just a phenomenal villain throughout the show. But yeah. Yeah, and he has the memes are hilarious as well. Yeah, I'm gonna miss Anthony Starr's Homelander. I'd move A Train and Queen Maeve into goated tier, and that's my list. Season 1 is still Homelander's best season. Yeah, I mean, especially that ending scene of him lasering down the plane at the end of episode 1. Yeah, that was such a good ending for the pilot episode. But yeah, so that's the tier list for now. Then we'll move A Train, Soldier Boy. Who else? Oh yeah, Queen Maeve, the goated. Probably keep Newman there. Yeah, I think it looks good. So yeah, might update it in the future. But this is what it's gonna be for now. But yeah, that's the tier list. I'd say season 1 and season 3 are probably like my favorite out of Homelander, especially the speech he gives at the end of season 3, episode 2, where he finally just snaps and he's like, "You guys aren't the real heroes. I'm the real hero." And the public actually loves him for it. Loves that. Loves his honesty. Loves that he was just being himself and stuff. And that kind of like changes things for him. Or like I can stop hiding. I can actually be myself. It's because it's what the people want. But let me get the probably gonna have to pull up discussing film again. Homelander seasons ranked: season 1, season 3, season 2, season 4, season 5. Yeah, I agree with that for the most part. I have to go. All right. Have a good night. Okay. As I was saying. I've heard mixed things about this movie. Gets a 3 out of 5 here. Um, my buddy Jake, Multiverse of Fandoms, said he saw it and he thought it was pretty good. And I've heard some people hate it, so I haven't seen it. Wasn't planning on it, so I just haven't watched anything Star Wars since Mandalorian season 2. So can't really form an opinion about it. Millie Acock or Alcock, however you say it, or turn a Supergirl on Man of Tomorrow. Well, that movie's already tanked, so congrats, James Gunn. Lego Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight. Heard a lot of people are loving it. Heard it's really good. 4.5 out of 5 here. I was confused on Um, oh, is this a game or? Oh, it is a game. Okay, I thought it was a short film at first, but no, it's a game. But yeah, I haven't played Lego Batman in a while. I love the original Lego Batman game. Um, Transformers the movie getting 4K theatrical re-release. So yeah, I've actually never seen the original 1986 movie. But they massacre all like the fan favorite characters. And then Amazon released the Vault Rising, um, prequel to The Boys. A lot of chances of I'm done with that universe. Prequel to The Boys set in 1950s. But yeah, there's Soldier Boy. Then you got Stormfront, who's Liberty in that timeline. Yeah, Bomb Sight, whoever these two characters are. Um, and then there's Soldier Boy right there. So it does look kind of interesting. I hope it's good. Um, House of the Dragon. I'm just not a Game of Thrones fan at all. Um, let's see. J.K. Simmons at the Mets game. Enola Holmes 3 has Millie Bobby Brown in it. Toy Story 5, June 19th. Nicolas Cage only joined Spider Noir because of Breaking Bad. I don't know what that has to do with anything. Backrooms 3.5 out of 5. I haven't heard much about it. I am not watching this, okay? Because I've heard of the Backrooms games and Pool Rooms games. They're very creepy games, just like the whole concept is terrifying. Just being trapped in like this room and you have to find your way out, and it's like a maze. Like it is terrifying to think about. So yeah, and you know, there's haunted entities in it as well. That makes it even scarier. And if you go on Fortnite, there's actually backrooms maps. Like you know, Fortnite, there's like a couple different maps you can check out. There's a pool rooms one, and then there's a backrooms one. But yeah, I am not watching this crap. I'm not doing it. I'm actually shocked they made a movie about this. I'm not watching it. I'm like, nope. But X-Men 97 season 2 trailer just came out. I heard great things about this show. I haven't watched it though. But it'll start on July 1st on Disney Plus. But I've only heard about it and I've heard a lot of positive stuff about it. Which I don't know how season 4 is in development when there hasn't been season 3 yet. So it doesn't really make sense to me. But it looks really good though. I kind of want to watch it. I gotta finish the Netflix Daredevil first before I get into anything else. Um, but talk about NBA for a little bit. The conference finals game, then we'll do a mock draft, and then that'll be it. Yeah, on to our sports stuff. All right, game 2, East Finals. The Cavs out rebounded the Knicks. James Harden had 0 turnovers, and there's like one other stat I can't remember. Oh yeah, they got more free throw attempts than the Knicks, and they still lost by 16. So yeah, Josh Hart 26 points. He had 5 threes, which is fucking ridiculous. He hits the luckiest shots I've ever seen. Like this dude generally pisses me off. 26 from Mitchell, but Cavs go down 0-3 in New York. Cavs should have won game 1. They shouldn't have blown that 22-point lead. Ridiculous. Friday in San Antonio, the Thunder beat the Spurs, take back home court advantage, go up 2-1. Wemby with 26, Shea with 26. So it's been a very good series so far. Probably the best series in the entire playoffs. Spurs and Thunder have met in the conference finals before when it was Durant and Westbrook versus Tim Duncan back in the day. But Knicks go to Cleveland in game 3, dominate them again. 30 from Brunson, 24 from Mobley, but Cavs go down 0-3 at home. It's like the Cavs pretty much just gave up and just don't care. But made Brunson look like prime Allen Iverson. Ridiculous. The only team I hate more than the Knicks is the Lakers, if I'm being honest. Like, if it was Lakers Knicks in the finals, that's the only reason I'd root for the Knicks, because I hate the Lakers more because they have 17 titles. So, and then game 4, the Spurs tie the series. Wemby with 33 points, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks. My boss actually had a bet where Wemby had to grab like a certain amount of rebounds in like the first 3 minutes, and he didn't do it, and he was like crashing out, raging and shit. And then he's like, "I hope you guys fucking lose." But they hold the Thunder to 82 points, which is pretty impressive. Thunder are getting battle tested, especially with injuries. But Wemby, such a great player, is going to be great for a long time. But it's not just his offensive games, his defense that's really scary as well. And the fact he's already in the conference finals in like his 3rd year is insane. Like he's already made the conference finals before Joel Embiid, and Wemby's in the West, which is a lot harder than the East. And then the Cavs have like no effort whatsoever, just completely gave up after blowing game 1. Just get blown out by 40 points at home in an elimination game. Just absolutely pathetic. Mitchell 31, 19 and 14 from Cat. That's pretty much it. Knicks are going to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999. Yeah, this is their first finals appearance in the 21st century. 27 years. Yeah, I don't care if the Thunder Spurs series goes game 7. The Knicks are getting swept by either the Spurs or Thunder. So I don't want to hear like, oh, but they'll have extra rest and stuff. Like, no, they're getting swept by the Thunder or Spurs, regardless. Like, I don't care. All right, and then Tuesday, as soon as this thing loads, the Thunder beat the Spurs. It was pretty competitive. I mean, it looked like the Thunder were going to run away with it for a little bit. Spurs made it interesting, but Thunder were in the driver's seat for the majority of the game, even though the Spurs started off hot. It was like, I think it started off like 15-4 or something like that, but then Thunder got back into it and pretty much controlled most of this game. 32 from Shea, 24 from Castle. No J-Dub in this game, no AJ Mitchell. Jared McCain started. Yeah, that's the thing with the Thunder. They have a ton of depth. They have a ton of guys that can step up, such as Jared McCain, Cason Wallace, etc. Thunder drafted well. That's a big part of their success. But yeah, game 6 is tomorrow. No games tonight. But see if I can get the it's not what I wanted. We'll do the mock draft on Fanspo, but I just want to get the order pulled up. But yeah, the Wizards finally get a break. They ended up getting the first pick. Jazz at 2, Grizzlies at 3. They got really lucky. Bulls at 4. They finally get a top 4 pick. The Pacers lose their pick from the Zubats trade. Their pick needed to land in the top 4 for them to keep it, but they fall out of it. And then the pick had to be in between 5 to 9 for the Clippers to get it. But yeah, Indiana loses their pick. I believe they're like the first team that to only win like 20 games and not have their first round pick. Something like that. But Clippers at 5. That's huge for the Clippers because the Thunder own all their picks. Nets at 6. Kings get really unlucky, fall to 7. Hawks at 8 via the Pelicans. So the Derek Queen trade doesn't look that bad. Mavericks fall all the way to 9. Bucks at 10. Warriors at 11. Thunder at 12 via the Clippers, and then Heat and Hornets. And then the rest of the order is determined by the regular season standings. But I'll do a first round mock draft to end things off. Okay. All right, but first pick, I've seen some dumbasses saying that the Wizards might consider trading first pick, which makes absolutely no sense. You don't know when you're going to get the first pick. Again, because the lottery is, all over the place. So the Wizards are sticking and picking, taking AJ DeBonsa. Wizards might actually be a solid team next year. Davis fully healthy, Trae Young fully healthy, Alex Sarr is only going to get better. Plus, they've drafted a ton of versatile wings that can play defense. So I actually like the Wizards' young core. But you get the Bance that has really good score, pretty much carried BYU, and had absolutely no help in March Madness. So he's the best prospect in the draft, in my opinion. I think it's close with Darren Peterson, but I think DeBance is clearly the best. But that brings us to the Utah Jazz with the second pick. Going to take Darren Peterson. Really good combo scoring guard. He can play point, can play shooting guard. But I think the Jazz are also going to be a pretty solid team next year with him, Jaren Jackson Jr., healthy. Lauri Markkanen, Keontae George, a bunch of young players off the bench. The Jazz have actually drafted pretty well. But we'll have to see. But Grizzlies, third overall. What the hell? Bro, are we dead ass? God, this computer sucks. This computer's so dumb. All right, let's try again. But they have 2 picks in the first round, thanks to the Desmond Bane trade. But gonna have them take King Loser. Perfect replacement for Jaren Jackson. I know he has that play against UConn where he had a dumb turnover and pretty much lost them in the game. I understand that, but don't let that take away from him individually. Still really good prospect. Definitely a top 3 pick, very least top 4. Bro, is this not working? Thing is freaking broken. All right, you know what? I tried. Yeah, I just don't have the patience for this right now. So we'll try again in the next stream. So I apologize for the technical issues. Really, really frustrating. But I just don't have the energy or the patience to go through it. So we will do the mock draft another time. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.